Quite possibly. I think you would have seen State. I can't remember if it was him versus SortOf, but two familiar faces, right? On one side, we have got, of course, SortOf, one of your participants at Red Bull Wallow. On the other, State, someone who I feel could have maybe made it if they were able to commit more time. And we were talking before we went live about this guy, Winston. I was saying how I talked to State a lot and how in the road to Red Bull Wallow, he was playing 1 to maybe 3 or 5 games a week of Age of Empires 4. And yet he still looked hot. And now, since around Christmas, we've seen State's hours ramp up in the game. And he's quickly paying dividends back. Like, this is the type of guy with this kind of pacing. I could see him easily being top 10 if he's able to commit similar hours to what we see out of someone like Beastie or Muslim.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got the skills to do whatever, like, if he just dedicates. And I think we're seeing that. And so I'm excited to see what sort of build orders he had. What's his prep here? Because you got a Mongol Mirror on a... You know, this isn't a map that you can play, you know, in ranked or anything. This is something where you really have to dedicate yourself to prep for this, right? You can't just, like, play the game and have fun and be good at this map, right? You have to put yourself in a position to train and get good. And so we'll see. I mean, it seems interesting. So the early pasture build making a comeback here. I mean, not a comeback, but just making an appearance here, right?
By the way, so you admit it, right? It's fun or be good. Like, they can't be the same. We had this discussion last... Or are you just trying to make a dig at Mongols that they're not fun?
I don't know. I love the Mongols. I think they're really fun.
I can't... Like, honestly, like, the subtle sarcasm that potentially existed in that statement, I think you might be of British heritage, to be honest. Like, that was S-tier sarcasm.
So I think the thing for me is, like, Mongols, I love to play Mongols. They're really fun. I hate playing against them sometimes. They're very hard. They're very hard to punish in certain situations. So we're gonna see the barracks.
So what you're saying is, like, you know, you get into a Mongol mirror, you're one of those people in a position is like, do I make a refred about this on Reddit? Like, do I complain or do I praise?
Do I complain or praise? I mean, I always just default to complaining, so we'll see. Yeah, so the barracks timing is going to be quite similar here for both players.
And, well, I'm just looking at the spawns actually and thinking what is exposed. And one thing that I am noting here is SortOf's generation is worse. Right? Like, Stone is 40 your base, which is decent as long as you're the aggressor, right? When you become the defender, you can lose because of that. The other detail I'm looking at is the gold veins. I think they're very punishable, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're still back golds, but tricky. I mean, I think if you get a well-placed outpost, it can make it really tricky to do anything early, but I'm not sure we'll see that. Yeah, like that's pretty far away, right? Yeah. So this could be a bit tricky.
Oh. You know what the real big deal breaker is, actually? And this is why SortOf is at least insulated a bit with this pasture opening. If you have a look at where the deers are spawned and where the gold and stone is, like, if State does win the early spearman bouts, he can drop an outpost on that deer stack and just deny everything.
Yeah, he can deny stuff for a really long time too if he gets a nice position. So that could be good for him. We'll have to see how the spearman bout goes because it's double production all the way, baby. So we're gonna see a lot of bad boys, pointy boys with the spears. Wolf goes down. Didn't deserve it, but he was in the way, I guess.
Well, you know, SortOf fans say he does deserve it because that wolf, Winston, just gave State an unfair advantage.
Yeah, that 2 HP or 4 HP, whatever. I think if that matters...
9 HP!
Jeez. Oh my.
Does that dog have rabies or something? What's going on there?
I don't know. I guess. No poison arrow for him? No, I don't know.
Like,
so now he's going to return sheep.
How much damage are wolves? Is it free?
Yeah, he must have gotten 3 hits in, I think. There's no other way for the math to check out. Unless they do 9, right? Which I'm fairly confident they don't do 9.
Just check if they install direwolves by accident. But hello.
I had this idea once where wolves should get stronger every time they like.
Oh yeah, veterancy. Yeah, I agree. I'm down for that. I've been saying that for a bunch of things, you know.
And we just scale the model up to get bigger and bigger.
How about villages?
Like, if you feed it like 30 vills and it's just like massive on the screen. That would be dumb.
That should work for Pumbaa too.
Interestingly, State a little caught out here. His army's on the north, gonna try and punish the gold, but in the meantime, he's gonna be forced to rush up this outpost.
This would have been good if he went directly past the base, because he would have been capable of preventing the tech up timing. But now it just feels like, you know, you maybe stop upgrades, but
Did you see that reaction from SortOf?
Yeah.
That was beautiful. State was trying to get this around. They're trying to be a little bit cheeky, and you'd think like you'd be so focused on getting this outpost or like making sure you don't die here on the front, and he immediately. That reaction was crisp. That was pretty hot.
I'd expect
I'm excited.
I mean, these guys are very capable players. Like, folks, I'm sure we all are familiar with State and SortOf, but even, like, you know, if you aren't, like, these guys competing in StarCraft 2, they were very damn good at their game. In fact, they've earned tens of thousands of dollars playing it competitively. State is also, by the way, like an interesting character in that he's cast for StarCraft. He also plays this, is willing to cast it. He also, by the way, casts PUBG as well. Like, he's got his finger in many pies. Simultaneously, by the way. Like, that's what really impresses me, is the fact that he's able to compete at the highest level in the game while also still being active in other scenes.
Yeah, it's a very impressive resume. I think that it's always really nice when you have people with that, like, at that caliber and anything they do competing in the game. So it's awesome to see. As now we have Deerstones for both players, so no cheeky silver tree attempts. Both players just focused on making sure they don't die to these spearmen.
Very delayed timing here, though, right? SortOf has been teched up for, I want to say, almost a minute now, if not a minute. State has to idle himself up, has to go in for this delayed tech up, also had to invest in the outpost to defend him. It means that SortOf gets to do this, right? He not only gets in the archers ahead of time, but also, because he didn't have to defend his own base, he takes that cost of the outpost and can put it towards the second pasture.
Yeah, considers the second pasture, but now going to pack some stuff up and move the pasture. I don't know what's going on there. Adding the range, definitely a lot later. State's behind on all these. State's quite far behind on the transitions here. Much later to castle. Adding the emplacement though on the outpost will potentially give him some safety here against these encroaching spearmen. But the archers potentially coming across the map pretty soon. Currently, they're defending SortOf's base.
Now, the good news, at least for State, is there's not going to be this threat of like a ram timing. We don't really often see that in the Mongols because any attempt to ram a building is almost pointless, right? They just pack it up and leave. But you can at least kind of arch over this uber production area, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if SortOf considers maybe adding in a few more spears just to try and address that outpost.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't think you want to make too many spears to try, because like you just garrison, and you also have access to archers. You can double produce, and suddenly like a significant pop could just be super punishing. So I think SortOf it might be taking the cautious approach. Just say, okay, I have map control. You're not on deer. I could maybe go to deer in a bit. Like taking these approaches, he could even maybe consider a dock. Although I think that's kind of fallen out of the meta on this map almost entirely, right?
It fell out of the meta on day one because there's no fish in Rocky Canyon.
Oh, is this a different map than the one I was thinking of?
Yeah, you're thinking of Dry River. See, it's not just
they look
me,
so
guys.
similar.
Exactly, it's not just me. This is the moment where we middle finger Bitterlin. This is his fault. By the way, there was a simple solution. All he had to do is like rotate the map 90 degrees, and then we don't get confused anymore.
I honestly thought this was the version with the fish.
It's the version.
I didn't want to say anything, but I was like, don't people dock on this map? Like, I just didn't want to say anything. I was like, maybe it's like not a thing anymore.
It's okay, right? Like, there's always something. So, like, a lot of people, they say on Dry River, he can just trade. And, like, Dry River doesn't have any trade posts. So it's like, there's always something.
Right.
But if you ever get confused, remember, Rocky Canyon, lots of rocks.
Fair enough. That'll definitely help me in the future. So he's just going for this dive. This can't be a really effective trade, but the outpost gonna get upgraded. I think it might go down, but
I don't think it does.
This is expensive for SortOf.
I don't actually think he kills it.
He's lost all the torches.
That's why I want SortOf to build more spears, because if he wanted to commit to this type of idea, you need them. Like, maybe actually at that point it would have been worth it to go for the rams I talked about, because, you know, siege engineering plus the ram. Compare that to the cost of 10 spears, it's still a good exchange to go rams instead.
He added a TC on the deer. So behind this, he's just going to try and boom, but he just kind of threw away his whole army. So it's a bit questionable, I think, in some ways. But I think if he can pull this off, it'll be really good. But he's going to have to invest in a lot more. Still has 8 archers on the board, so should be kind of okay. But State, making some Mangadai, trying to make a statement, perchance.
This is the name. Got to do it in the game. I mean, honestly, this man loves Magadai. He's constantly thinking of ways to do Magadai, but problem is, like, it's multi-TC, so what do you do with them? Where do they go?
Yeah, especially if the opponent has already built some outposts, but
how
he
about
hasn't
onto his
yet.
gold line?
Yeah, but there's archers there.
Yeah, like 4 archers versus 2 Magadai. I'm not siding with the Magadai here.
Yeah, this is tricky. The Khan just YOLOing the arrows. I always love his animations. Like he looks really, like he looks really excited to shoot his bow sometimes.
So
now
much so that it actually looks like he's twisting his torso in like impossible directions, right?
Yeah.
Like he's the neck
still
twister.
coming in. Yeah, like an owl just sitting on a horse. Yeah, now State gonna be going up castle, so we got the step redoubt coming in, so that gold economy gonna be very dank for him. Sort of won't be too far behind, right? Because he's got the TC on the deer, he's got survival techniques on the way, so he's gonna quickly catch up in food and gold and be able to follow just a little behind with a better army, a much better army.
I'm just gonna go back to the very dank statement there for a second.
Yeah.
You know, some people would argue a man of your age. But I'm not going to argue that, Winston. I think the glasses allow it. So I want you to use the word dank a lot more.
I use it a lot. I think it's a great word.
So mix it in, right? So like, oh, this player is not very dank. This player is very dank. I dank on that dank, right?
You're making it weird now. So now we got the stepper out coming in for SortOf. Less dank because he's much later. But we'll see. I mean, we got the spearman here, so is State gonna reciprocate and throw all his spears under a tower? Maybe. Oh, or does it get denied? Does he get a Vil pick? I think that Vil died. That Vil died.
But he's 2 TC, so he's shrugging already.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the Castle Age just at a great timing for him. So this is gonna be good. And the Knight's coming out for State, so that's gonna be his approach here. It should deal nicely with the archers. But
hey, you know what would be pretty wizard here is if State goes for the relics. Oh, there we go. Straight into him. Sort of doesn't really have
wizard?
much, though. Yeah, I'm trying to bring it back.
I mean, yeah, the prayer tent coming in, very wizard. I don't know. I can't say that.
Now you got to commit to the way you do to dank. It's the only way it works.
Okay. All right. I'll give it a shot. I'm gonna have to practice that one off.
It's the confidence,
okay.
you know. Like I actually think this timing for State is gonna be pretty wizard because SortOf is only going archers, and now he's delayed on his lancers. Like State should be able to get at least 3, if not 4, the relics. They're quite generously located for him to at least pick up 2 safely.
Yeah, that should be pretty good for him. And I mean, Sacred Sight's not going to be the easiest thing to hold, especially when you can't wall them as Mongols. But if you have map control, it can be really good. And double producing the shamans, you rarely see it, but that's a great use of that stone there because it's just going to give him that tempo to really pick up a lot of them. You know what's really fun is getting those double techs at the monastery. So you get or the prayer tent, sorry. So you get like the really tanky shamans with the really fast healing.
Yeah.
It's really good, guys. It's actually not that strong, but
Yeah, it's
but
just,
it's fun.
how much stone is?
It's fun.
Can we just judge you more, Dabson? Can you tell us how much stone the improved version of Piety and Herbal Medicine would be? So
325 and 500. Oh, 225. All right, that's less. 325. Oh my gosh.
So maybe you wanna rebalance that, Winston, because I don't think we're doing.
No. It's good. It's good.
This is like when I argued for improved forestry. Actually, no, improved forestry is more justified. I'm going to stand by that.
Fair enough. So, yeah, then we got the steppered outs, bringing in nice gold counts. The military, though, starting to really favor SortOf. His economy almost 10 Vils ahead, so gonna be tricky, eh? Gotta hope the relics kind of save State here, basically, right? But he's got steppered out, so it's like the gold is gonna be only so useful when your landmark designed to help you with gold.
It's like, it's still, in this situation, you either go for relics or you go for a TC and you just play from behind. By going for the relics, SortOf is like, aha, I've got this pointless resource we already have too much of. But now, when I go for a TC, I'm kind of ahead.
Yeah, an attempted conversion, but the knight shuts it down. Interesting.
No civil war today.
Very interesting. Shamans just running around getting stabbed by knights on horses. The wolves looking on in dismay, like, glad that's not me, huh?
I'm like, hey, what do you want from me? I bit the arm off the spearman. I'm full.
Yeah, he's satiated. He's fine.
Turns
so crossbows coming in.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say, like, turns out that the State is pretty kind of choked on resources right now. Like, you're seeing the inability that he has to push more units, right? Like, this is kind of worrisome.
Yeah, 5 knights. I mean, he's got 13 Vils on gold, all on the steppered out, so that gold is coming in really, really fast. But, I mean, he's producing 3... He's got 3 shamans in queue, right? So he's definitely found a way to spend it. could potentially see the blacksmith coming in soon. He's got vet archer on the way. I think that's going to be his follow-up here. Is archer knight versus knight crossbow, which I mean, I would always favor knight crossbow, right?
What if we add in healing? What if we get your dream come true? What if the only play for State is to now go mass shamans?
Well, he's out of stone, and he'd have to move his Uvu, and I think at this point that's too much like mental overhead. I think he's if he builds
Also,
another
where-
Uvu soon, that'd be interesting.
But also, where is the next stone actually? Like, oh wait, no, I think he's done it. It's on. Is it on the northeast side of his base? Near the gold.
Oh yeah, he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that.
He just set it up. Okay, so he can easily do that. And also, by the way, he went for that TC we talked about. So now it's like State is weaker right now, but if he holds, like long term, he's ahead.
I mean, well,
He's almost got 4 relics back.
oh, long term, yeah, he's after the second TC if he can hold. He's down 10 vils though, and quite a few economic upgrades as well. Like SortOf's already got 2 of the food upgrades, so he's feeling comfortable. He's getting bounty, so he thinks he's gonna do some pushing around here.
What are we, boys? Let's talk.
Kumbaya.
But like,
They're having a good time.
You know, like, come on. If you got a relic, you got to hold on to it to feel holy, right? If you put it inside of a tent, what's it gonna do? Generate tourism as everyone comes to look at it? Yes, that's
It's got
exactly what it's
9
gonna do.
wood. It's got 9 wood, so I'm not sure we're gonna see another prayer tent very soon. I mean, pretty soon, surely, right? But yeah, this is looking rough. I mean, SortOf's got the bounty tech almost in, and I think when that comes around, he's just gonna start burning buildings and getting economy for it. The knights though diving in on the steppered out.
Army is nowhere near home right now, so that's going to achieve some idle time and also slaughter a few villages alongside it.
Yeah, nice little raid, but if he loses army, I don't think he's in a spot, right? State needs all of his army. The army count is doubled for SortOf, right? 43 to 22.
But this is
If
your only
things go
play, right?
bad.
Like if you just don't do this, then your opponent will just continue to outscale you. So his whole idea is like delay, buy more time. And if SortOf isn't moving into siege in the next minute or 2, I think it does actually pay off. But if SortOf does actually realize this what it truly is and starts to dedicate to siege, he could just take State out.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little tricky, right? Because we did see State pick up a few Springled emplacements on some of these towers, so raiding in the back with just a few knights is going to get punished at some points, and maybe now he could really make use of that healing from the monks. I mean, don't need the tech to do a little bit of healing, and it could be nice. And this is tricky. That's a big army just kind of idling, very menacing.
That's what I mean,
I wonder
right?
if State can see that, and he's just like looking at that army like, how the heck am I going to fight that? Meanwhile, these villagers running
Where are we going
very
today,
fast.
Papa? Heaven.
Forward workshop or something? I don't know.
Heaven.
I don't know. They might get she might get saved. She's alive.
Right, but
She's
now...
trying to set up like an outpost.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
he's going for a
outpost
sacred
provision.
site victory. Yeah. So he's going to try to force State out of his base before he's ready.
Yeah, it's interesting. He got the bounty tech. I feel like he really thinks his position is amazing. He is up 30 total population. It's gonna dive in under the Springled outpost, but there's a lot of crossbows. 4 SortOf, so these knights from State just gonna go down so fast. Oh my, this fight is fast and really brutal here. Oh boy.
He needs to
All he's
hold.
got left is archers. He's got
State-
like 8 crossbows in the back.
But the crossbows, like, they aren't fully here in mass. They're going to clean up the last of the knights, so dive past this should be a bit more difficult for SortOf. But if he does just decide to throw away the archers, there's plenty of woodworkers just behind this.
Yeah, Genghis goes down for both players here, and this is tricky. I mean, I don't know. Is it even worth it for SortOf to stay here? I mean, I guess he's denying the deer, which is useful, but at this stage, State should be kind of more onto the pastures, right? He can probably try and
He's on
ignore
berries.
the hunt for the rest of the game. Yeah, he needs pastures though if he wants to live.
Yeah, but you need
Now
to
we
get
could
more
maybe
wood. He's throwing wood at everything, it feels like, right now. More production
Yeah.
buildings. You know, you want to get into your prayer tents. It's stretching him thin. I mean, I think SortOf, he did throw away a lot of military there. It did reset State, but once again, like, he's not dead, right? You didn't really kill many eco units. You just kind of stood here.
Yeah, I mean, the 10-bill lead stands for SortOf, but like you mentioned many times, like 4 relics to 1, that's a big advantage. But then again, 2 holy sites. We're gonna get the 3rd sacred site in just a second, I think. Yeah, it looks like there's a monk going down there, but the battle rage is on under this. I mean, this Springled emplacement is getting a lot of value. It just keeps walking away.
Hasn't that not just been the story of this game for SortOf? Not bringing quite enough to kill a tower, and then having to leave because of
Several
it?
times. Yeah, several times. You think one siege weapon at some part of the game would be very nice, but
It's
not
like
really thinking about it, I guess.
it's like watching one of those kind of cartoons where they beat the villain, but they beat him with the same thing every single time. Like, ah, no, my peanut analogy, allergy, not again.
They pull the mask off and it's just the same guy every time. Yeah, it's definitely tricky, but I think sort of is in a good position. Like this is just his army is now 20 ahead. Although the mangonel for state, the mangonel could be the big game changer. A large portion of SortOf's army is those ranged units. So if he gets 2 mangonels out.
Also, if he plays towards the tree line, and the fact that the Khan's not here, right? So if you check SortOf's vision in these battles, like, I mean, honestly, his sight is about as good as mine. There's a reason I have to usually wear glasses.
Yeah, no, definitely. Also fighting up the hill here on Rocky Canyon, Canyon for a reason. The hill definitely, like, look at that archer. He had no idea what was coming. He's got hit by a vault. 5 shamans in tow. This army is looking pretty scary for state if he can get those mangonels out. Although the night count for SortOf is quite high. A man at arms switch.
Wait, is SortOf yoink? Yeah, he's yoinking deer from the other corner. So he's trying to force state to rely even more heavily on pastures, which of course is problematic on a map with limited wood. Raid in.
Yeah.
He's found a few villages. But quick reaction from state on the benefits of being the Mongols with that Yam network, right? That's a big thing to always know in these mirrors between Mongol players is who has that movement speed and who doesn't.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like the movement speed is really, really insane, especially when you stack wheelbarrow with it. It can just make your vills feel so safe. You're just whizzing around the map like outrunning knights. It's quite fun, but again, hard to play against. So sort of kind of demonstrating that exactly, like trying to get these vill kills and not really getting it. Up 15 vills now, so his vill lead has been growing very slightly. Looks like we're gonna have a bit of an engagement here in the middle of the map, in the midfield.
No siege still for SortOf. Meanwhile, the Butcher on the backside, there's a few knights from state do find their way in. And this is the bait. Remember, he's playing uphill, limited vision. SortOf, not quick on reaction, takes a heavy hit in the center. And he blocks him from charging that mango. He can't get on the back. He tried to backstab with the knight. Staggered formation's going to come in. But state, he has no choice. Better or worse, he has to hold and protect this siege.
Yeah, the spread formation doing such a good job of mitigating this. Maybe a bit early for state to move out with just 1 mangonel. Imagine if he had 3 on that hill. Or he just has no wood, no real opportunity here. But the mangonel, he's gonna get a nice little shot.
It's working.
Oh wait, he's grouping up for the retreat.
That Yam saved him. He got out of range just in time. That final shot would have walloped the center and probably taken out half the remaining units.
Interestingly, state keeps investing in these springholds, but there's just no siege from SortOf, so it's not doing a ton. Oh man,
this is like some kind of I feel like I'm watching a dance movie in some ways, like street dance, right? Sometimes when they go staggered, you notice how they just zigzag past each other, like serpentine maneuvering.
Yeah, like those you know, like in Midwestern U.S. football, they have like the college marching bands, and they have like these really elaborate formations. You know what I'm talking about? You see like the YouTube video, there's just like hundreds of people just like perfectly fitting through each other kind of thing. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. But near, oh boy.
He needs
I guess the 3 springholds completely thrown away. Yeah, I don't know what he can do here.
Okay,
he's gonna bring Yam of his own. I guess that's his.
Mag it out, mag it. Oh no. That's
takes a shot, kills 1 guy, and down goes the mangonel. But another mangonel rolls up in.
He's the only one building siege.
He's got 4 springholds though. I guess he's just kind of relying on their base damage here just to like slowly chip away at the archers. But this fight is also just good for SortOf as we have the timer slowly counting down. 7 minutes left. KP, what does state do to change the game state?
Rams.
Oh,
it's Rams time. He's actually adding Rams. He understands what we've been talking about. Like, it's the outpost. As soon as the outpost is gone, he can brute force SortOf because, you know, what's been saving him is that staggered formation. When they go into it, remember, Yam also impacts the formation, right? At how quickly they break apart. I think that saved SortOf like 3 different times in these engagements.
Yeah, the nice thing about Rams as well is that you can just kind of plop one on the sacred site and threaten the timer decap kind of thing. So maybe that'll be his plan. as sort of goes for a raid. If he catches one of these siege weapons in Q or something, this could be brutal.
All right, Ram's pointless because, you know, we've already solved the problem. Turns out if you just use the Maganel, Maganel is now being targeted. I don't think he gets this Maganel quick enough.
Yeah, but it's not doing very much damage. The SortOf's micro has just been super on point here. As it takes I said that as he loses 3 boys to the Mangonel, but I think he's gonna win this fight. He's got enough units.
But it's the amount of cavalry and now also the outpost threat. Like, so if he keeps massing horsemen, he can solve this, but he needs to be fast. There's Springald emplacements. We've seen what they can do in these type of games. And finally, State is going to be relieved of the Springalds that he did not need, as most of them have been taken out. State really needs to try and add in some spearmen, but as you said, the micro from SortOf has meant that these archers never shrink down to a number where spearmen feels viable.
When your opponent has 20 archers and 20 crossbows, it feels so hard to justify adding a bunch of spearmen and like throwing them into the fight right away. If you make those units, they kind of have to stay in the back and not take damage, and you can't really afford that in this state. I keep saying state now.
Yeah, you swear you're not doing it on purpose, but I don't know if we.
I really promise that in this state.
I sort of want to believe you, but I sort of can't.
I sort of can't believe it either. Yeah, no, this has been rough. I mean, the Vil count has been neutralized somehow. I guess maybe there was a raid that or maybe SortOf smelling blood in the water and just all inning at this stage.
I think he's just winning. Like he understands the timer is now a clear win condition. Like he's kind of leveraged this long term. We talked about the relics; they'll eventually become problematic. So if he doesn't maintain 3 sacred sites, you kind of reach a disparity in terms of eco. Now one upside for him is potentially like wood-wise, he has enough map control that he won't starve first. But another issue for SortOf is because all the attention's been in the center. You notice that State's 3rd wood line is always going to be accessible unless SortOf now connects with that raid on the backside to the step readout.
Yeah, that will shut down the gold quite nicely. But I mean, there's plenty of garrison spots, plenty of room at the inn. A man-at-arm comes to save the day, but I think he's just going to die. As we have an engagement in the middle, and this is a very important.
He's trying to get in.
Oh boy!
But I mean, it's Trevor Maganel. This is do or die. Remember, there's no Yan this time.
Yeah.
But look at the horseman count from SortOf. We're about to crack 40.
Big. Yeah, this is getting really risky here for State. And double the military. How do you win your double the military or half the military of your opponent? Just feels so impossible. 4 mangonels, I guess, is the dream.
Maybe this, like, so men-at-arms. I actually don't mind this idea from State. It's really gambly, but if he goes men-at-arms and just bodies to protect the mangonels, like, that will beat the horsemen, and it ensures that your mangonels survive, right? Quadruple Maganel could win this, but he has 1 shot, 1 opportunity, only 3 minutes left on the timer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can make enough mangonels to stop 33 horsemen from finding the gaps in your army. I mean,
what
it's
if you
gonna
make
have to be perfect
50 men-at-arms? That's my deal. 50 men-at-arms. Can they get in there?
I mean, they're both going to be popped for this upcoming engagement. Looks like SortOf is trying to attempt some kind of surround, and he's
it's
dancing
the
with the idea.
He's using the outpost to kind of create body block points as well.
But it's blocking his own troops from getting there. As the horsemen come in, he aims the mangonels on the back line, goes for a big shot, does kill half the...
Decent, but not decent enough. I mean, this is just too many horsemen. Like, he's trying to sustain in this area. This real towers to help as well.
No way.
SortOf. He's a little bit off of the micro in these fights. Just too many things to manage and too many mangonels to worry about. But still, remember, that timer is ticking down 2.5 minutes away. And the mangonels feel like they're all but reached. The lack of horsemen, however, mean they survive.
Wait, I mean, look at the military count. It's come down to just a 5-unit difference, but the economy behind it, I just feel like SortOf can keep throwing units into this, and in 2 minutes, what can State accomplish, right? Especially as 2 more mangonels go down. If this one goes down, his whole threat on the...
He doesn't save it. It's gone.
Oh, no.
So now this is problematic. This is where just mass horsemen can just keep pushing and just dancing on the side. So State has to strong arm this. He has to brute force it. He can't hold back at all. He can't just trickle reinforcements in. In fact, he has to stop SortOf before his trickle builds up.
SortOf can't afford pump anymore. He can't afford this horseman. Like he threw a lot of horsemen into this engagement. A lot of them died, and he just doesn't have the food economy to sustain this.
He's switching lances.
Into like
That's
this many
slow.
archers and crossbows?
And it's slow as well.
The Sacred Side's halfway. The Sacred Side is halfway.
It's paused. 1 minute 55. Stay. He finds a way to break through those mangonels.
Another mangonel.
I mean, they lasted so long, and now the desperation. The mangonel says, yes, please. I'd love to munch on the Villies. Sort of.
State with a 10-unit lead.
I actually think he's done it. Even if the mangonel goes down, it doesn't matter. Sort of. He just hasn't got the troop mass to stop this.
The outpost spam worked really well for State, though. I think those Springald towers were unsung heroes, and the mangonel, I mean, it was 4 mangonels. They got off a lot of big hits in that fight.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like it mattered at first, but, you know, once that crossbow mass was kind of much lower, it felt rough there. And let's see the production queues. I mean, it just looks pretty
Where are we
even,
going?
I don't know what the
More
plan is here,
outposts, he
just
says. More outposts. Oh my. And you know, another thing to kind of consider in that fight, like, it's the fact that, sure, SortOf is like doing a great job on dodging these shots throughout these engagements, but every time he has to dodge a mangonel shot, he's not returning fire at the same pace the archers on the other side are.
The Sacred Site was like 2 seconds from being decapped. It was so close.
Wow.
And now look at that progress bar just going right back up
But
again.
wait.
All that work.
Look at the count. Look at the amount of Springald Towers, right? That's the thing. State stood on that Sacred Site underneath 2 Springald Towers for a very long time. And now State understands exactly what this game is about. It is a race. It is tower offense. That is what is going to win.
They're playing balloons. TD.
There's something like that. You need the more offensive version, right? It doesn't feel like your traditional tower defense game. This is 2023 tower defense simulators, folks.
Oh my gosh, how does this work? Like, at some point, State just has to pull Vills, right? He's got a minute left. Wait, I just heard the sound. Is one of the Sacred Sites being decapped? Can we check those? No? No?
I don't
Okay, maybe
think
not.
so.
I thought I heard the sound. Maybe it was just a stray villager. Okay, no, I lied. I don't know what I was
We've got a minute. State has to go soon. Sort of. He's reset and looking good, right? 50 villagers on food for that consistent horseman production. He's back up to 20. And remember, the next fight that State takes, he will not have siege. There are no mangonels in queue.
40 seconds left on the timer. SortOf and State bashing heads again in the middle.
That arm arrow, though, that armor arrow done so much damage to the horseman masters get hit, and SortOf, it's all in. The villager's on the way. He doesn't care. He understands perfectly. This is too much mass for State to take out. 25 seconds left is enough, and he guarantees it with a great migration into the center.
Yeah, the Control A right click. It's a classic. It's just it's a classic, a modern classic. Pull the boys, pull the girls, everybody in the town, show up. We've got work to do, and it's called Hold That Point, and it worked. There for for a brief period, it looked like State had that opportunity. It just very briefly looked like he could have done something, but he was unable to capitalize. Like that timer, I swear, that timer was at like 10%, 15% or something once he got kicked off of it. Oh, if he had just had like one more mangonel, right? It's like one of those things, or like a trebuchet to start dealing with the towers in the back, right? Just one of those options felt like it could have made the difference, but State's economy was just so tight. He just couldn't afford it, and down he went.
I mean, this is the thing, right? When you look back at that game, Outpost decided it. And that's the thing that actually allowed State to come back into this, is the way that he forced a fight on a quadruple Outpost, I think it was at the time. 2 of them at least had Springald upgrades. They also create those choke points to ensure the mangonels lasted longer. But then after that fight is what really matters, right? No additional mangonels just being pumped. On top of that, you have a situation now where State is standing underneath opposing Springald towers, being hit in the face by them just to try and decap.